practice?
I do general law. For now, I do immigration, family law, and general misdemeanor practice. I don't do felony. Please don't take
No drug cases.
Yeah, no drug cases.
All right. I had mentioned to Brother Sam, and I'm gonna really set myself up to help a couple of people. But in Chicago, I was a great asset to many attorneys, being that in many cases the groundwork that makes an attorney really shine comes from the researcher or the investigator that digs it up, tosses it up, so that when he gets to court, he can slam it home. And in Chicago, all of the key attorneys always knew when there was a job that only Cokeley could do, because Cokeley had a way of getting information, especially if it was being withheld, without investigator badges. Some of my friends are legal investigators. They carry weapons, they carry badges, they have certain powers they gathered from their relationships with the court. But the bottom line is that attorneys need strong researchers and fact finders, and people who have that capability need to know how to market their capabilities to attorneys. Sometimes they're on $1 million case, and a leg man who can go get information, pull property records, can pull death certificates, can look at investigative reports and find discrepancies, can go on site and shoot pictures and examine the site of incidences, can be of great impact to a legal person. And I haven't found the type of attorney brothers in this area that work Chicago. When they were taking over the school board in Chicago and they were coming with the control board, we took what we could do. And one of the things we noticed that the man that they wanted to make chairman of the school board, like, who's the man who they made head of the new educational trust here in D.C.? Who is the man that they made head of the new educational trustee board?
General B.
Man, I'm gonna kill y'all, man. You fired. You fired. You fired. Come on now, he was former head of the Brookings Institute, trilateral commissioner, and who? McCleary. Now what's the problem? What's the problem? Y'all need a cue? Y'all told, right, we've been off a while. Okay, all right. That's why we had Bruce, you know, lead warm-up, so everybody can get in the game. Okay, who is he? Nah, man, y'all don't do that. We got guests here. Y'all don't embarrass me in front of the guests, man. Is this a plot? Huh? All right. We go back. I said, go back now. The reason we brought up McCleary was because he was a power person being inserted in a situation that was not the likely spot. So in Chicago, they wanted to make the chairman of the utility company, Thomas Ayers, the most powerful white man in Chicago. He was the chairman of Commonwealth Edison. It'd be like taking the chairman of Pepco. But as chairman, but Pepco would have to be sitting in the biggest bank in this area's headquarters, because First National Bank of Chicago, which is a 100-story skyscraper. See, you got a problem here by not having the skyscrapers. You don't have the honkies point themselves out to you as the major honkies. So if you walk the skyline, you see the 103-story Standard Oil of Indiana building. You say, they must have some power. You look over, you see the 103-story John Hancock building, the 99-story Prudential building, the Time Warner building. All of a sudden, the powers in the locality loom, and so now you got the chairman of the utility company sitting in the #1 bank, First National of Chicago. So you got Commonwealth Edison, certain floors of the bank is the dominant stockholder in the utility. The First National Chicago is a sub-bank of what bank? Boy, it ain't nobody. Chase Manhattan, there we go. There we go.
That's Citibank now.
Well, no, it's all City.
No, well, didn't Citibank, didn't Citibank...
Chemical and Chase merged. But Chemical, Citi, and Chase have all been Rockefeller from the jump anyway. Go get a book, The Rich and the Super Rich by Ferdinand Lundberg, which was a big hit in the 60s, showing Interlock Incorporated directorships. 60s book, people was into then, it was big things. You got some rich and the super rich. And then there is the Rockefeller Syndrome by Ferdinand Lundberg, a 70s analysis of the powers around the major cities. And one night, I think I need to preview that book for you. I was just looking at my copy the other day, and what they do is they take Cleveland, they show all the corporate interests and the major families that make Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, New York. And when you look at that corporate, financial, governmental axis of power and how it links to the main power, you'll see how the municipalities go. The country ain't but a series of municipalities. The Republican move that empowers governors, because there are more Republican governors than there are Republican mayors. So the Republicans always make the Republican-controlled money funnel through the states. When the Democrat wins, they fuck the state funding and they move to urban cities, model cities, CETA, all of the direct-to-the-city funding goes on. You with me there? So we're in the state shift now. Because we're in the state shift, the cities are being dragged along, but the cities still, Illinois, the capital is Springfield, but Springfield don't have no weight. Chicago has got more of the state senators, more of the state reps, come out of this one little county that dominates the rest of the state. That's a whole nother discussion, because y'all ain't got the state, the rest that Baltimore got it. But Maryland is even so small in a sense. Outside of Baltimore, there isn't a lot of competing interests for focus in the state of Maryland. But still, as a municipality, they have their roles in dominating the domestic agenda. Point was, we went and got an attorney who didn't really give a shit about what we was doing, but he had the right to file a case. When they went to make the chairman of the utility company head of the school board, the financial control, what they call the School Finance Authority in Chicago, Jerome Van Gorkum, who was the head of TransUnion Corporation. What does TransUnion Corporation do? What does Equifax do?
Credit.
Because if you were to do a survey on who are the top 3 credit check companies, you do Equifax and TransUnion. There's one more out there. I'm not even going there. There you go. Those are the big 3. Well, Van Gorkum, who was head of the School Finance Authority, when Reagan won, he became the number 3 man in the State Department in charge of personnel. That was a heavy. But I'm busting, how I got going in Chicago was busting into this coming together of the control board to take over Chicago. All the information I had, niggas was ignoring me to death. But when they started the control board move, and I had these documents coming forth on control board, trilateral, to take over the cities, the interlocking relationships of the board, the crisis creation, all of a sudden they scooted me right on in, and that scoot lasted all the way till I ended up special assistant to the mayor. It was only based on having the information when they were going through the trend. So we didn't lose all the battles in the coming forth for the control board, because it's what we did. When the white mayor Jane Byrne won the election as a fighting against the evil cabal, and she won with a snowstorm, the ugliest white woman in the history of America to win an elective office. That's important because in politics, ugly does not become effective. Handicap is not effective. It is not that they're not worthy people, but people are funny about leadership. So in this particular circumstance, she won. As soon as she won, she got with the evil cabal she pledged to be against. And her fate became that she actually, when the black community really helped her, beat Balandic and Podoliak and all of the white boys who had taken over for Old Man Daly, she immediately found out. They take you in the room and they say, look, now it ain't nothing but poor, cheap, hunky power and rich, hunky power and nigger power. We ain't with the nigger power. Now you either gonna get with cheap, hunky power, or you gonna give in to rich, hunky power. So she sides with cheap, hunky power to shake down the government. What does cheap, hunky power do? They sell cab licenses. They sell inspections, whether it be sewer inspection, plumbing inspection, building inspection. They make cheap money off the government. Now, I know more about government than, I really have one lecture teaching you about government, because I know the shit I'm prepared to manage real estate. And I don't mean housing. Jack. Now,
Real estate.
Now, that's right. And so what happens when the bankers come? The chief hunky says, well, look, we only want few contract. We want to sell popcorn at the airport. But the popcorn at the airport concession is going for $50,000 under the table, because popcorn don't cost much, and airports have what you call locked-in constituencies. You got a natural feeder pattern at the airport. Any concession at the airport gonna make if you don't pay too much in scratch. See, if you're somebody juicing, you too tough, you ain't gonna make no money. You end up over your head, in debt, looking for the mafia to give you some hot money to keep another mafia off of you. There's a Channel 7. Must be going to Howard somewhere. Yeah, get the fuck out of here. Now,
We're all brick.
all brick, right, 8 and 7.
Brick bank.
That's right, same man, got 2 stations.
Got brick bank and channel 7.
Got the papers on Glenn and Paris on it. Get Glenn, Anyway. Now, so when we saw that cheap hunky power really wasn't gonna make the move against rich hunky power. Big Mac has just started in New York 75. This is 79 in Chicago. I'm still trying to do trilateral and shit, still getting cut off the radio. They can find no connection between the international move of United States, Western Europe, and Japan, no connection between that and Chicago until the control board came. And unlike DC, even though the niggas say we do not want to hear this COKELY shit, but if we don't call them in out the bullpen, then even those of us that just want shake money ain't got no heat to sell shit for. In other words, a moderate cannot make money on their own because they aren't piercing enough to demand anything out the system and get paid. How moderates make money is they sell out the militants. So you end up with, you see, they're over there and we're over here, Mr. Bobo. That old boy got him going with Mr. Bobo. If you just deal with us, you can cut down the constituency of the militants. So now I know you don't want to deal with them. So they sell. Now, the moderates got so fat, they was getting so big, they said, man, take some of his money, kill the militants off over there, will you? So they killed off the militants. So then they went back to Mr. Who and asked Bobo for a contract. Bobo said, well, look, Holmes, I'm going to give you half of what you had. I got my son that's coming up, he can't get a job. I'm going to let my son do exterminating, you get half, he get, but Mr. Bobo, I had all of it. He said, but you only going to get half of it. So boy go home, he said, damn, I don't know why Mr. Bobo didn't change. He isn't afraid of me like he used to be. That was what the whole thing was when I come up on also girl, Susan Taylor. She tells me, Steve, this thing going on here with Time Warner, I ain't seen white scared like this in a while. Now, you would greatly underestimate a year in review. We go all the way back up there. All we're talking about is white saying one thing. So, okay, we heard that. Now we coming with this. Okay, we heard that and we're closed. You must understand in an international context what it means to have street power. To have street power. And first thing Mary Berry did when she became mayor was cut street power. It got vesseled on Malik. But it was Farrakhan, it was a repudiation of what went on over here at Howard. That ain't went on since. But it cut the militant down. The whole thing, the whole vibration that went on that made DC strong has been cut down, and that was done before they made the other moves. You couldn't have 2,000 people pamming in Crampton on a Wednesday night with a national audience and have a control board at the same time. Because half of the people walk, I said, well, fuck it, let's go downtown. That's the natural. If you got the thing set up right, this is what we do. Jane Burns out. She's gonna get black people to support her, so she's out giving hands. So we go down there and get the schedule off the press secretary, find out where she's gonna be at that day, and everywhere she went to get them hands out, we dogged her ass out. We dogged her ass out, and the little kids were throwing their hams back. As we went to the project, they was tossing their hams. Someone was even saying, I'm taking the ham and voting for Harold. And again, let's go back. Harold could not see it. Harold said, fuck it, y'all ain't gonna, I ran for mayor once, y'all didn't support me, I had 77,000 votes. He said, y'all register 50,000 people, and I'll consider letting y'all put my name in nomination. Registration came in at 222,000. We went up in public aid and got thousands of registrations, right? The nation came on board, a whole lot of shit went down. But it was street compensation for corporate domination. corporations are stronger in Chicago than in D.C. Meaning that there's a layer of hunky that ain't even up in here. Which means that the task of accomplishing the goal of representing the people's interests is easier rather than harder. The other side of it is, this is the central government of world fascism, and because of that, there's the extra added CIA street penetration. Meaning that CIA is in Chicago because we got the Fed there, we got LaSalle Street, which is the Chicago version of Wall Street, we got the largest stock markets in the world up in there. So there was street danger. There's street danger here, but ain't no street danger in Kansas City, Missouri, or in some of those places where the municipality does not have the dynamic that whites are worried about being shut down. The thing that got Larry Hoover, who's in jail, the real knockaway, lockaway, national lockaway attention was when one day Larry Hoover closed down all the public schools on the west side of Chicago and sent them students down there to ring City Hall and the state building across the street at the same time. So you had a single file line. The City Hall in Chicago and the county building are together. It's a 4-block building, meaning it's all of one block, all of another block, all of the back block. It's a 4-block connection. You with me there? Yeah. So you ring that, and then the state building is right across the street, and it's a 4-block connection. You call students out of school, you a gang leader sitting in jail, you call students out of school and ring 2 government buildings at 12 noon, and the hunkies are sitting there going wild. That the schools were closed down and the ring was put around the hunky. The hunky is more worried about that street pressure than the hunky's worried about this black dialogue. Now, to make those things work, certain things must be put in place. So when Jane Byrne is coming, she announces that we're in golden handcuffs to the bankers. I remember sitting there looking at her on TV, and I had taped it, and she had 2 bracelets on, and the bracelets clanged when she hit her 2 wrists together. She said, we're in golden hands. She holds her hands up to the television. She's being interviewed live on the 6 o'clock news, and the next day the papers show her hands up like we're in golden handcuffs to the bankers. And that was First National Bank. Hey, man, I had called your house, man. I had called your grandma. I was worried about this. Brother Robert went on my trip to me. What took you so long, man? We had to run over here? Man, I was kidding you going to the basketball game first, man. I had sent the police out looking for you. I called your grandmother and told her you wasn't here yet. I did. I just called her 15 minutes ago. Said you ain't never this late for the lecture. Right. Come on back. I ain't through with you yet. Robert went on my trip with me to Springfield, Massachusetts. And when we got there, I had never told the brothers I was coming with anyone else because it was a high, and I had to excuse that story for a second, but going to a Nation of Islam mosque number 13, in the middle of high assassination period, Kwanzaa, between so-called Christmas and New Year, was a chilly thought to me as a brother. I knew the brother who was running the mosque. He was the brother at Xavier University when I allegedly made the Asian Jewish doctor statement. I was in 87. 9 years later, he's head of the mosque in Springfield, and the brother Robert decided to go with me, and I didn't tell them that, I didn't tell them that Robert was coming so that I would have something going that was beyond the normal. And that I had these other brothers coming in from Boston to meet me there, was that I had more people around me so that whatever they were thinking about me, that plan was now being not messed up, but had to include that I had these other factors. How many people did he really come with? And who's other brothers? I said, he might not look tough, but this is a martial arts master murderer man. He's a murderer. And I said, whatever y'all do, don't make him mad. He's a murderer. Hey, so, but Robert was of great help to me in being there, and I really, getting home safely, was a great priority of mine. And we had a great lecture at the mosque in Springfield, and we had an interesting lecture in Boston that next day. We came on out of Boston at 10 o'clock Saturday night, got back here at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. And we got real lucky because it wasn't as cold as it could have been up there, but though it was a little chilly. And Brother Robert still don't have no winter coat, so he didn't go with no winter coat, but that's all right. We go to another place, we're going to get him a coat. so you have a winter coat. But I really want to thank Robert for going at his own expense to go on the lecture. And just to being here now is an appreciation of the brother having gone on a trip. Sure.
I'd just like to say that we come to these lectures every Tuesday. I want to say, like the minister said, right here, he's not an entertainer. And this thing that we're in is life and death. We shouldn't take these lectures every Tuesday, just coming to hear him speak. Like Friday night at the mosque, while he was giving the lecture inside the mosque, a lot of the people, they grilled me on the tape. And it's a good thing I knew the information, because I have still a lot of tapes. But I just like to say, you should take these lectures more serious and information more serious, because we in this for our liberation.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Is being on the road fun, Robert?
It's not fun.
What you come to find out is that when you do make this journey and it ain't home, it don't mean the room gonna be right. It don't mean the food gonna be right. Don't mean you can eat like you wanna. Don't mean you're gonna be comfortable. And in spite of all, it ain't gonna mean that. When we rode the train up, the train was so packed that they had people standing up from Union Station all the way to New York in the aisles. I mean, every seat was taken, but the aisles was sucked up all the way. I mean, it was like shit in there. It was really like shit in there. And the lady fell all over Brother Robert, spilled a hot dog. She said, "I'm so sorry I spilled my hot dog." Robert said, "I'm so sorry that ice hit you on the back of your head." Robert took the ice that fell out of her cup and threw it at her. Right? And the train is just, packed. The reason she fell, she couldn't get through. But Robert rightfully, we don't like them level of accidents, And I saw her coming. I had ducked. He was in the seat ahead of me. She fell by the time she got to his seat. But that was quite shocking. Another thing I want to tell you, too, and Robert will attest to it, while we were in the hotel in Springfield, Massachusetts, just a little sidebar story, we had a little trouble with the rooms not being heated right, this and that, and I was trying to pay more attention to this lecture because I'm coming up here with the nation. This door has opened up, and I don't really know why, that the nation has opened this door up to me to come up here. Now, the main man that had been having a hard time with college was the regional minister up the East Coast. You got Brother Don and Brother Dennis. So part of this thing that went on at the Slave Theater with Brother Eric Muhammad and him crying and the people standing up for him in college only making that 5-minute speech and them kind of moved, that whole thing that went on up there, this Brother Don and Brother Dennis were intimately involved. One is the Supreme Captain, one is the Regional Director of the nation up the East Coast. Well, we up there, they're greeting us, they're very cordial, they want to support the lecture when they come back, and these are unusual door openings. Now, a little sidebar to that was, I had told you all that I thought, and wait till October 1st, I really sprung it on College, that I thought College might have been a double agent. Not that he was a double agent bad, but that he may have been looking like the nemesis of Minister Farrakhan, but actually went around the country to smoke out dissent against the minister. College being a very strong brother, he could accept the pressure and the tension of looking like a dissident. And when we got to Atlanta on the 1st, I had put the ultimate pressure on him about looking me in my eye and telling me he ain't that person. Because it was dawning on him after Bruce Monroe and Patricia Harris Center and all of these little incidences we have been involved in, I was saying something ain't right here. So I go to him with the double agent. Will you introduce the minister, main man? Boom. Next thing you know, College meeting with the minister twice. Boom. He on the Million Man. This is the first. He's on the Million Man March at 16. So it's like the cover was blown. So he could no longer go around and be that guy, because we decided that we were going to announce he was that guy. We started saying, hey, I think College is really the minister smokeout man. So that ruins the ability to be a smokeout man if somebody smokes you out. But we may have passed our test. The test was, what are your feelings about the minister? Well, it ain't that bad of a guy, but on this, on that, I ain't tolerating this confusion, which is just what went on today on WOL over this thing about the prayer breakfast, and why the Anti-Defamation League and the American Jewish Congress were not going to show up. And it was going and going and going until someone said, hey, well, they've been meeting with them all along. And so then it took another turn. The net result of it was it ended up like this. They had come at one point in the nation's behalf, but they ended up cutting their balls by the time the show was over. They were just another black group secretly meeting with white people, never telling black people what all they did. Then someone said, well, but it was in the final call, it was in the news dimension. How could that be secret? Isn't that him telling about the meeting? All this went on, but the net effect was, and I could hear C. Miles get tired after a while, was the net effect was the issue went this way. And you know where we end up when it ends up like that. So I'm real interested. We up here at the Holiday Inn. I'm having a hard time concentrating getting my lecture together. So I decided I'm going to go down to the pool area with nobody in the pool and lay my lecture material out all over the concrete there. Now, Robert had been in the lobby earlier and saw these two half-dressed white women in the lobby. I didn't know that till I came upstairs and said, man, guess what just happened in the pool? He said, man, I saw them women earlier when I was sitting in the lobby, half-dressed, blankety-blankety blank. And what had happened was, I'm laying the transparencies over the pool. The two white women are in an exercise room at the other end of the Olympic-sized pool in an enclosed room. It's glass, though. So I'm down on my knees, literally, putting my stuff in order. And next thing you know, the white woman comes out the pool. This is all glass. The hotel, we're in the main floor of the Holiday Inn. It's all glass, so you can see anywhere around. There's a little game room with kids in there playing games. It's all glass. You can see all the way around four corners. The white women walk out the exercise room butt naked, jump in the pool and swim over to the side of the pool where I'm on the ground doing my lecture. And butt naked lifts her top up out the edge, sets her breast on the edge of the pool and says, what you doing? And I say, you know, I came down here not to be disturbed. I'm here working on this lecture here. So I just went on, kept doing it. She swam with the other white woman, jumped in the pool with her. They butt naked. Little kids is here. It's glass all the way around the pool. And I'm going, damn, now. Lecture. That was the tops off, then the bottoms go off. Now, the kids come in the pool. The two white girls stay in the water. Stay in the water. Heads up the water, butt naked in the water. The little white kids go back out into the little game room, which is just a little clear doorway away. All this is all glass now, all the way around. And I mean, they literally, just short of touching me. And I know somewhere there was somebody and something just waiting for Brother Steve to get up and want these white women. I tell the story in the Springfield tape, for those of you that are different tapes. I tell the story because then when I get upstairs, and you know what? They just kept going until they really got tired. Wasn't that going on? I said, well, damn, I guess we ought to get out of here. The one tells the other one, they get up, butt naked, come stand right in front of me, put their panties on, put their top on. The little kids are standing right there looking at them, walk right on out, go right on out the room. I finished my lecture, I guess I said, damn, Robert, boy, my shit is in perfect order. I said, very seldom do I get all my transparencies in all the right places. But I especially wanted to do this night at the Nation because I felt it was an important speech. I didn't know what was up, but I was going to throw down. I had my shit in perfect order, but really, I was in a little malaise until I felt that pressure. Not pressure for their bodies, but just that this was going on. And I got that shit in perfect order. When I got up there, that boy, Robert, I got this shit in perfect order, man. I mean, my shit is ready tonight. And I said, man, you ain't gonna believe these two white women was down there. Robert said, hey, man, I seen them. I seen them white women. When he was sitting in the lobby, they was down there half naked going through the lobby saying the exercise machine, something didn't work. On and on and on. They was all over the hotel that night. I mean, that brother won't even tell you what's going on all over the hotel, just all around us. Aaron won't get into all of it, but he'll tell you, being on the road, making that trip, and many of these trips are available for any of you all to go on. We'll make a couple of trips by cars, even make it easier for folks, but in the process of making a trip like that, you can see all of the dynamics of all the things that go on around trying to make a connection, you know. And brother having gone on the trip to see that the trip ain't always a comfortable thing, to get a feel for what that's like to leave up out your home and to go someplace where you don't live, you never been, and to be like you've been there all along. Because when the people get you to this spot, what they expect from you is that you're well rested, you're in top shape, and you're ready to talk for 4 or 5 hours. The first night we were there, they didn't buy no tape. Didn't nobody even look at the table the night Tony Martin was there to speak. And Tony Martin's speech, you know, Tony is not a dynamic speaker in a sense. He's a very articulate speaker. And they wasn't really thinking, so we had to get in and say, that's right, get him, bruh. You start giving them lift lines, Tony started getting hot. And you see him on the board, he's like shaking like Stevie Wonder. He started really humping then, as we started putting that hump, yeah, get him, bruh. And then the audience, that was really just, what's Springfield, Massachusetts like? I mean, damn, I never even heard of it. Till I had gone there, this marks number 13. So we sat for Tony Martin's speech, and at the end, I took him those memos that end Bootleg Secret Relationship. But then at the end of all of that, I had Brother Robert come back with me, sat back at the table with Tony Martin, and started asking him about Tyrone Powers. And Tyrone Powers was on the radio today, Robert, confessing his relationship with Ricky Ross. And we're going to play that for the audience, but Robert will bear witness to this discussion that we had. And when I told Tony Martin that I was uncomfortable with Tyrone Powers being accepted without cause in the black community, he said, thanks, brother. He said, because you know what? I told Brother Allen. Brother Allen is a brother in the nation who co-wrote the Secret Relationship, the book. Right. The historical section of the nation is housed up that way. Brother Allen is the key man there. And so Brother Allen reads Tony's books. He backs Tony Martin up on the book thing. So when Tyrone Powers thing came up, him and Allen them got together. So I say, oh, so Brother Allen helped you, huh? Now I'm thinking Nation helping this FBI boy, Martin helping this FBI boy. So Tony says, but look, man, I told Brother Allen, what if Tyrone Powers is still FBI agent? Because we kept making a point to him that the book says this. It don't say ex-FBI agent. It says the rise or decline of an FBI agent. Right, thank you. Don't say X shit, right? So, you know, we was running this back to him about the title, the card, how his cards say the same thing. That's the way his cards look, like that, with his name, address, and phone number at the top of the book. So, Tony said, thanks, man, because you know what? I thought that maybe he could be too. And I told Brother Allen, what if I got used by the government to put a man in the middle of the black community? He said, that you are putting a check on him, relieves my conscience about something I could have done that might have been bad. He said, and a funny thing, now I got what? He said, what I got now? What do you say he didn't got now since he done top hours? CIA dude didn't give him a book. In fact, he got 4 other people that sent these manuscripts to him out of the agencies to get Tony Martin into the black community.
Can we get Dr. Martin and get copies of the manuscripts so that we can create our own files on them, boys?
He told me that he didn't read the CIA manuscript yet, but I asked if he would turn it over to me. I did ask for that. The CIA boy want to tell all. He said the boy been in 9 agencies like Tyrone Powers, or something like that. So anyway, so Tyrone Powers was speaking the night after me. So we know he was coming. So the next night, on my night, I jacked up Brother Allen. What are you doing helping him? And I told Brother Allen and all other brothers there in the nation about why I didn't like that. Till he comes behind us, we go on to Boston. We don't get to see Ty Powers. But boy, Tyrone Powers gets on the radio yesterday and gets to talking shit like he never talked shit before. And we're going to play that. You'll see the power of what happened in Springfield, I believe, set the tempo to make him come down here and give up this relationship to Ricky Ross that we talked about right here. I said, something's wrong with this book. He goes to Cincinnati in 87. Ricky Ross goes to Cincinnati in 87. He's got to damn know Ricky Ross, but he ain't doing no Ricky Ross discussion. He's doing church burning. He's doing, what's this other one he's doing now? Ebonics, you know, all kind of FBI, but he ain't doing drug things. The one he really should have been telling about. And then Confederate flag, right, that's the new thing, Confederate flag. But now he makes this, hey, by the way, Lisa, let me tell you about Ricky Ross. Now I'm going to play that for you. It's going to knock you out about what he says, and it's going to ultimately incriminate the essence of what he says he is in the book, because the confession that he makes will make you question his brotherhood. That he tried to arrest Ricky Ross and they told him he couldn't. And that raises the question of who then was Ricky Ross that the FBI couldn't touch him. Ricky Ross and his whole story may be different than we ever thought. And we're going to get to that. But I especially want to thank Brother Robert. I wasn't going to tell you those other stories about the pool or about the nation. And Brother Robert did help me. I told the audience, they want me to keep talking. It's 3.5 hours. And I keep talking. I said, you all are the only city I would set my tapes out at. Sat here all last night and all of the day. Y'all ain't bought one single tape. Now, how long y'all want me to talk? And so I stopped and said, look, y'all not supporting me. It was like they had been told, don't touch my stuff. Because you know what's in them tapes. You know what, you go in there, you're going to get into some shit, even about the nation. But then the ice broke. Brother Robert went to the table, like Brother Robert said, if he had not been sitting at every lecture. See, they used to ask Sister what's in the tape. Sister can tell them some stuff about what's in the tape. Even if she don't know what's in it, she can tell them what's in the tape. Like, you know, Brother Steve, talk about this diamond and jewels. I know when I first took Sister on the trip, I watched her selling tapes at the slave. We on the street, just on the street with the boxes on the floor, selling tapes, and Sister telling them what's in the tape. And I said, man, how'd she jump on it? They was just getting all the tapes. But it helped a lot that Brother Robert was there to help me. And about the time we got to Boston, we got rid of all our little tapes. I didn't carry much because I didn't really expect much, but it was an interesting trip, and I appreciate him being there. I just wanted to tell you those stories with him here because he can bear witness to that as we go off into the Tony Martin and the rest of that. I appreciate you, Brother Robert. All right, brother, I appreciate you. And then Brother Hebrew went on a trip with me to Stony Brook, and I was sick. That's the sickest I've ever been on a trip. I mean, I'm in the hotel room on the floor. I mean, literally, I'm throwing up everything, and I'm really sick. And came time to talk, I had to get my ass in there and talk, because ain't no sick leave in this job. And hey, if you miss the lecture, you miss the money. There's no rescheduling. Ain't a bunch of things that you could call in and somebody show up for you or some shit like that. Brother David, you want to do relief pitching for me and shit? So you're right. Anyway, so back to Chicago, when they wanted to make Tom Ayers the chairman of the school board, the residency requirement was that he had to live in the city. And he lived in Glen Ellen. And we went out and got his golf course records. We got all the records for his voters registration cards in a municipality, Glen Ellen, Illinois, that is very affluent, one of the top communities in the country socioeconomically. And they were resisting these 20, 30 black people running across the golf course trying to vouch for the residency of the major corporate leader. And we knocked him off, and that's how we got the first black head of the school board. But also, we had filed that each one of these people who took these offices, I'm going to give you a clue, and I bet you they're supposed to do it here, but they ain't made them do it. You're supposed to file an economic disclosure statement stating all your assets. This economic disclosure statement assures that you don't ever vote on something that you have a financial interest in. Now, Anthony Lake, National Security Advisor, had to admit that he still had his Exxon stock, his Mobile stock, his De Beers Diamond stock, as Clinton had in government, supposedly in trust, found out that the trust never put it in trust, and he was still actively a dominant stockholder and making decisions affecting the companies. And he just got promoted over to the CIA. But these economic disclosure statements ought to be filed by even people who are in advisory positions. And one of the quickest way to bump a motherfucker out is to go in there, pull his economic disclosure statement, see it ain't there. And the law says if you have not filed this within 3 days of your taking the office or having filed a 30-day extension, you forfeit the office. It's very specific. You forfeit the office. And we went in on economic disclosure statements on all the ones that were put in the board. They were all fraudulent. And this is what the judge did. The judge said, okay, if you win this case, you are absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. But if you win this case, you will cause chaos. So I'm going to give you Tom Ayers. He's out. But I'm going to allow the other 11 members of the Board of Education to file an economic disclosure statement to avoid chaos in Chicago. And that's when I knew that the law wasn't shit. Because as little people, we were offsetting this major insertion of dominant power. Now, with Chicago being a political machine, this is what Barry does not have.
That's right.
See, this is why I know the nigga really led you all to the hunky slaughter, because if you don't have one thing, you must have something else.
Right.
I mean, you just can't have nothing. You can't have a car, a job, a wife, and a job. and have 30,000 people working for you, and you ain't got nothing to protect their ass in the clinch. Berry has given no major revelations on a hunky since he's been mayor.
That's right.
Now, I'm going to tell you, when Harold Washington would say, look, I'm having a hard time with this hunky here, say, send Stevie upstairs to the mayor's office. I leave the city council. Hey, look, the utility company is giving us a hard time. What you got? I say, hey, I got the utility company man saying he's $40 million in debt, and he ain't doing a good job. He want to be another job. He want to do something else. Say, well, you put that in the council, and when you get that up just right, I'm going to knock that shit off the table. Just like Duncan did. Now, this was a major move, and y'all never get a boy no credit for it. Duncan knocked out the 5 Jews, the 3 Jews and the 3 white people in Silver Spring who wanted to put the 555 Silver Spring redevelopment project out there. Duncan stopped them and they wanted Duncan to put up 3/4 of the money. And Duncan looked out and said, I ain't got, even though it's more what in Montgomery County than anybody else. Jewish people. Remember the tape? I got the tape up here naming the names. That's nice we was out there because I named where the Jewish people were in the top 5 states and the top 5 cities and what the Jewish population was in Baltimore versus Montgomery County. There were more Jews in Montgomery County than all of Baltimore. 110,000 in Montgomery County, 95,000 in Baltimore. And what they were saying, but that wasn't enough to make Duncan, the county chairman out there, give in to them and lose the base he had, making Silver Spring a Jewish resort area. Because the little boy in the gas station, the little Israeli, always come and libel me about why would Duncan knock us? And what is 555 to us? What is 555 to us? The sign of the devil. So here comes the 555 out of Canada going to build the biggest mall next to the one they built in Minnesota. And Duncan knocks them out. That's a major stopping of an Israeli settlement project. Major. Or she can come around here if she wants to. Put the camera down front. She take this thing. How you doing? Very good. And that was a major move. So the judge split up the case. Gave them half, gave us half, and that half was enough to let us know that we needed a black mayor. It was at that point I said, damn, if we keep waiting on this white woman, by the time she finished, we ain't gonna have no point to fight from. And then that's when the boycott came with the housing authority. They went to appoint people on the housing authority, and we disrupted that meeting. They arrested some of the women. The man came in and hit a woman with the billy club on the TV, and the black woman getting hit with the billy club on TV went all over Chicago. And so that started the school, the CHA Chicago Housing Authority fight. That spilled over into the festival. Now, I'll make this suggestion. One of the things these honkies love up here in D.C. is D.C. Food Festival. All these fucking festivals up in here. Now, I'm going to tell you something. You start announcing ain't going to be another festival in this town till there's some justice. Now, I heard Linda Mitchell saying this going to be the year of justice, but she don't know nothing about Mena, Arkansas. So it's not likely they're going to be getting the form of justice that we like. Huh? Inauguration coming on Martin King's birthday. Good time.
He got all his niggas in town to perform.
That's right. The mayor ain't never gave no revelation against no hunky. He ain't never went and tipped nothing. Mayor ever tipping